Going on, guys? This is Explicitly Explained. Welcome back. Got another episode for you guys. We're just gonna get right into it. I've been watching a couple debates online, and I'm just recently seen this one with Piers Morgan with Cenk and that one fucking snotty ass fucking congressman who's always wearing I forgot his name, but they go on there and they're talking about this ICE incident, and I'm a little stumped here because I'm hearing a lot of these guys say that the lady that they're using the comparison to Kyle Rittenhouse, and it's just such a stupid comparison. I mean, we're talking about a kid, who, again, I don't agree with the verdict. The verdict, it is what it is. I don't think he should have taken an AR-15 to a full-blown riot. However, was this right? Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. But you can't compare that to the Minneapolis incident because the lady used her car as a deadly weapon. And during this podcast, during this Piers Morgan podcast, Piers Morgan goes and starts saying that, the guy that was shot in the whole altercation with the guy and the gun, and he got shot and they got it on video. They're trying to say that because he had a gun, that's the reason why they shot him, and that now the Republicans are going back on what they're saying with the Second Amendment, and the whole thing was revolving around the fact that the things shouldn't have happened. The ICE agents shouldn't have acted that way. They shouldn't have shot. But I disagree. I completely disagree. This is what happens when you deal with law enforcement all the time. This is not exclusive to Minneapolis. This is not exclusive to any state. All law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, they're rough around the edges, yes, but if you antagonize them, they're gonna shoot you. If you antagonize a police officer, they're gonna shoot you. And it's not a matter of whether the person was a good person. No. That has no bearing on the situation at hand. No bearing. The officers just see a person who's in their vehicle and is progressing towards them. That's all they see. They don't know who this person is. They don't know who she is. They didn't shoot her knowing who she was. They shot her thinking that she was just a person that was going to run a police officer over. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a riot with an AR-15, got into that altercation, and eventually turned himself in. That's what happened with the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Completely different things that happened here. Both revolving around the Second Amendment, but it doesn't compare. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a riot with an AR-15, and that was wrong. That was a stupid idea. Something was going to happen. You knew something was going to happen. Kyle Rittenhouse's testimony revolved around the whole idea that his city was burning and he had to go put out the fires with his AR-15. Don't agree with that at all. Don't agree with that at all. Was he within his right? Yeah, he was within his right. That's why he got acquitted. Because the majority of it was that he complied with police officers. As soon as that he turned himself in, there was no altercation with police officers. He went in and turned his weapon in, turned himself in, and he was then in the custody of police officers like the same night. There was no manhunt. There was no nothing. The kid walked, surrendered, gave him his gun, and he turned himself in. Totally different than what happened with the rioting that's going on right now. Totally different than the protesting that's going on right now. We're protesting and we're saying, how can someone sit there and shoot someone that's protesting. No. Spitting at a police officer, doing anything that antagonizes a police officer, any police officer, is wrong. It's wrong. You should never do it. You're gonna end up shot. You're gonna end up shot. People, is this? Did I miss that? Where cops shoot people? Did that go away and come back? Did it make a come? I don't understand. I don't understand. You know, it makes no sense. I try to make sense of it, and it doesn't make sense to me. You know, people talk about, it's ICE versus civilians. No. It's ICE versus the immigrants. Whoever impedes the investigation, I'm sorry to say, they're going to use force to remove you from their track. They're on a path. You're in their way. You're going to be removed. Whether it's by force, by deadly force, whatever the case may be. That's not new. What do you mean what ICE is doing is wrong? ICE has been doing this for years. Immigration laws are not new to 2026. No, these did not just come out today. Immigration has been a political issue for years. And just now, ICE is wrong. We need to defund ICE. Democrats were real prominent on funding ICE all throughout the early 2000s. I can pull up the chart. All throughout the early 2000s, we have Democrats supporting ICE. And then all of a sudden, when it becomes a Republican talking point, of course, the script flips. We flip the script now. Now Republicans are the ones that are being demonized for enforcing immigration laws. And Republicans are being demonized because they're enforcing strong borders. And it's not even that they don't want anybody in the country. It's that the terrible and like the most horrible way you can handle an administration during the Biden administration. That was the worst that we've seen. Why? Because the border was wide open. This is not, people want to talk about research. Well, look, do that research. Check that research out. See how many people have entered the country illegally. And that's not even counting the people that we don't know. That the YouTuber that exposed Nick Shirley, the YouTuber that exposed the fraud in Minnesota, did other videos of him at the border. People just walking up saying, "What's up, man?" And waltz on by right into the United States like nothing. I mean, like with nothing. Nothing has been able to put those people, like no issue has brought those people to light. But the border. That's where we've seen the biggest downfall with the Democratic Party, was in the handling of the border. And now that they're cleaning up the Democrats' mess, and because it's being done in a very fucked up way. Yeah, look, I'm sorry. I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't see the videos. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not watching the news. Yeah, they're fucking rough. Yeah, but you know what? That's what the fuck happens when you let all these people in the country. That's what the fuck happens. If the border was mitigated, if it was controlled, if we were trickling people in, if we were letting people stand in that fucking long ass line that my family had to stand in. I come from an immigrant family. My family had to stand in that fucking long ass line of immigration, fucking go through all the fucking hoops that the damn government made us jump through, and here we are, legal fucking citizens. I'm not scared of ICE. ICE isn't gonna come and find me. ICE isn't gonna come and attack me. Why? Because we did it legally. Just just the way, just how we have illegal immigration, we have legal immigration. It can be done legally. You don't have to cross the border illegally. You don't have to do it illegally. There's a line, there's a phone number, there's a place to go, there's all these numbers to call. It's a process. Yeah, it's not easy. Never said it was easy. Never said that you can just waltz into the country and fucking disappear and do your own bidding, how they've been doing. It's a tragedy. I mean, it's truly a tragedy what's happening. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that those people should have died. No one should die. No one should die. And there's no but. They shouldn't have shot those people. Yeah, you're absolutely fucking right. They should have used different means of subduing their subject, which they have. So the fact that they turned to deadly force so quick, yeah. The guy, this is why I still am on the fence about both of these issues. The guy at Minneapolis with the gun and the girl in the car with the ICE agent. It's because in the eyes of law enforcement, everyone is guilty. That may sound fucked up because we live in an innocent till proven guilty type of justice system. But cops, law enforcement are not the courts. I'm going to say that again. They are not the courts. You may see them as one big entity and they're all the same people and they all... No. Very different entities. Very different jobs. Very different views. Very different perspectives. A cop's perspective, you can't match that to a magistrate's perspective. No. The perspectives are so different. You can't sit there and compare those two and say, oh, well, I can litigate my case to this officer that's trying to give me this fucking ticket. No, you can't litigate that right there. No. You take your fucking ticket. Do not argue with the cop. Take the ticket. Go to court where you're supposed to fucking go. The cop doesn't care about what your explanation is, about what happened to you that day, about why you were speeding and the reason why you... No, that's why they are the way they are, because your story means nothing. And that's okay. It's not like they're supposed to care. They got one job and they do it every day. They do it every day. So, you what are you telling them to not protect themselves, to do a dangerous job and carry a baton? Okay, so the hoodlums and the hoods that got guns that are armor piercing, what about them guys? Do they have to give up? Are they going to give up their guns so willfully as the cops will? So we're going to leave the cops without the guns and leave the criminals with the guns, because let me tell you something, they're still going to get the guns, whether the guns are legal or not. Look at the gun states. It doesn't matter. Gun laws don't matter. They still get guns. They still bring guns into the United States. Now, we're a Second Amendment country. However, just because someone gets shot by a police officer doesn't mean that the gun is the problem. That's where the confusion with the Second Amendment comes in, and why Democrats are saying that Republicans are kind of doubling back on the whole Second Amendment deal, how we were big prominence of the Second Amendment, and now that we're eating our words. But I don't think that's the case. Because if we remove guns, we're going to turn into a knife country, just like It doesn't matter. Murder will happen. Attacks will happen. All these things will still happen no matter whether you take guns away or not. You take guns away, people are going to be chopping each other up with machetes. It doesn't matter. So the argument to take guns away, that's just a non-argument because people are still violent. People are still violent. Doesn't matter. The only thing that'll mitigate, and by a small margin, suicide rates. Self-inflicted gunshot wounds. That's where it would do the most intent. That's where it would do the most action. That's where it will be the most effective. It would be in self-inflicted guns. Everything else will still be, murder rates will still be high. You think they won't kill people if you take the guns away? You think that murder will go away if you take the guns away? Makes no sense. Let's go down it. I mean, if we can go down that diatribe and say, hey, okay, well, what would that look like? What would a world without guns look like? Great Britain. And they still have high murder rates with knives. It's just sad, man. It's a sad thing because it's being stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, the guns are there for tyranny, and people are feeling that this administration is being tyrannical, and they're using the media's optics to make their claim, to make their case. You know, and they're doing a good job because a lot of people are fucking rattled up protesting ICE agents when clearly that's not who your battle is with. Those are the grunt workers, man. Those are the grunt workers. They don't. You're going to a warehouse and trying to ask the guy who's lifting up the boxes and putting them down about company policy. You're bitching to him about company policy when that's not even his fucking job. It's not even his fucking job to worry about that. His job is to worry about those orders that he was given. That's it. There's nothing coming from that. You're not going to gain anything but a punch in the face or a bullet in the face, for that matter. It's been the case. It's been the case. This is not new. People want to bitch and complain and say, "Oh, well, this is we've never seen this before, and I can't believe that ICE is actually doing what they said they were going." They're not kidnapping people, okay? Stop saying that they're kidnapping people, okay? Because ICE has no law enforcement. We live literally in a justice system where we have rights that protect us. Yes. Yep. People might be laughing right now saying, oh, rights, what rights? Yeah, well, you know, your rights go away when you spit in a law enforcement officer's face. Yeah, those rights get taken right the fuck away. Yeah, because if you spit in my face, I'm going to fucking fuck you up too. Okay, that's a human reaction, first of all. Second of all, if you try to kill me, best believe I'm going to protect myself. What do you think the officer's demeanor is like? It's just stupid. It's just the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You really gonna get mad at the guy for fucking protecting himself? You know, the guy with the chick in Minneapolis where the chick progressed with the car and she got shot in her car as her fucking girlfriend was recording the whole thing. The guy that shot her got dragged by a car the week prior. So the guy's traumatized too. You didn't. Law enforcement, the way they work, dude, anything's a weapon to them. If you progress to them with a fucking teddy bear and you're launching the fuck out of that teddy bear, you might get shot. You might get fucking shot. Just saying. I mean, it is what it is. If you take a cup, if I take this cup and I chuck it at a fucking officer, he might shoot me. It's just, it is what it is. Don't do it. How's that? Don't throw the thing at the officer. You know, I'm just, I'm a little just a little worried about how things are going. This is getting to be a little bit out of hand because no one's saying anything. Everyone's just going with the rhetoric. They're not even asking questions. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, you know, with people who are prominent in this kind of rhetoric, you know, I don't know, let's say a Bernie Sanders who likes to call Trump a fascist and say that all of his movements are that of a fascist. You know, the the Trump administration, Trump specifically, he's going to take that. He's going to take that and he's going to run with it. He's like, oh, you think I'm a fascist? So well, watch this. He knows that what he's doing is legal, but the optics of it is going to look bad. And he knows that people are going to get triggered. He knows that he's going to be within his right, so that he has that plausible, kind of affirmability to say that, look, I have the right to do this. I can do this. This isn't illegal. They're going to try to impeach him. It's not going to work. Why? Because at the same time that you're dealing with such hate. I mean, I wouldn't even call it hate. I would just call it smear campaigns. A lot of these guys, they go online and they start their little smear campaigns. Legacy media. They like smearing people. They like taking clips. Smearing people. And they just like making things look and shape in the narrative that they want. Anything that goes against the narrative, of course, that's going to be dismissed. Anything that goes against the narrative is going to be dismissed at face value. You can't say, oh, well, previous administrations such as the Obama administration did a lot of deportations, record-setting deportations. They don't say anything. That's irrelevant because he's not the president. Simply because he's not the president. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and it's one of those things that drawing parallels, it doesn't make any. That's where I start to lean right, because I start asking questions and I start asking for logical consistencies, and there are none. There are none. I can't ask questions. I can't draw anything. I can't say anything, because if I do, the mere action of asking the question is taken the wrong way. It's, oh, why are you asking? Why you want to know? And it's like, well, curiosity is one of them. Knowledge also is another. Better understanding. I mean, if I'm going to talk with someone and I don't know where you're coming from, I mean, I just feel like the conversation is half-assed. I want to know where you're coming from. And most of the time I do. I understand, a lot of policies that Democrats put forth that, I can see how Republicans can reject it. A lot of it is a biased. If you're not from our party, we're not going to support you. A lot of bills that Democrats put up get very little Republican support. Very few times are issues bipartisan with a bipartisan agreement. I mean, it's just rare to see that. But it's all incentivized. It's all incentivized. So when a Democratic president is in office, all their constituents are gonna fucking vote, and they're gonna group together, and they form this conglomerate of the Democratic Party. Same thing with the Republican Party. They have incentives. So the laws that go out that people hate so much, majority of the time, these things have been written already, and they've been trying to pass it for a few years. When their party leader gets elected, well, now they have their chance to put forth their bill that they want. That's going to get passed now because they're the majority. But these things are not looked at. People just see, oh, well, I don't like the laws, and I'm gonna go to the cops, and I'm gonna fight the cops, and I'm gonna punch the cops, and it's like, dude, wrong guy. You're barking up the wrong fucking tree. What are you doing? I mean, you gotta be stupid to take a fucking gun to a fucking protest. You gotta be stupid to do anything with your vehicle when an officer is in front of you. You gotta be fucking stupid. Like, who does that? Who the fuck does that? Come on, man. I'm just wondering how this is going to turn out. We're heading into an era of change. The midterms are coming up. We're going to find out who the Democratic runner-up is, who's gonna be the running up that, which there's a few names I got in mind. I'm gonna do another episode, regarding as far as how the race is going and what the next election is going to look like. I'm going to be covering that pretty close. This is it's getting out of hand, man. It's getting out of hand because no one is talking about these issues in the way that seems genuine. Everyone's just taking sides still, despite everything that's fucking happened. Everyone's still taking side. Everyone still has Trump fucking derangement syndrome. Everyone can't stop talking about how Trump is a fucking Nazi. I don't get that. If you're gonna do journalism, be genuine about it, man. Be sincere about it. Don't try to go with a rhetoric. Everybody's so stuck. Everybody is it's common to make fun of Trump. It's common to hate Trump. I've seen, at least in my circle, it's like, man, do you know him? I mean, I vote Republican, but I mean, I've never shared hate towards any Democrat like how they're showing it now. And Bill Clinton was in the Epstein files. I mean, we can play the same fucking game, It's a lot. Especially for people who are not following it, as closely. They don't have the time to do the research. They just they open up their fucking phone or they unlock their phone and the first thing they see is a headline saying, this and that, and they're like, oh shit. They just tell their friend, oh, look at what happened here, this and that. And it's just a terrible game of telephone. Terrible game of telephone. It gets blown out of proportion. People are constantly freaking trying to find what the real truth is, and it just gets nowhere. It gets nowhere because people are just stuck on Trump and Trump. It's really all it is. It's really just hate towards the man. They don't even look at what his team does because he's not alone. It's not one person. CNN may cover him that way. CNN may constantly single him out as the United States government, all three branches in one fucking man. They do that. But I hope others, will kind of make the differentiation to know and have the basic knowledge to understand that it's multiple people. You know, the bureaucracy is a fucking monster. You know, that thing is huge. Huge. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it on that note. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully I get the hang of this. This is still getting a little used to this, but yeah. Check me out. Next episode will be dropping soon, guys. Peace.